Creating from the Heart, the Artistry of Living. I'm Suzy Vance, here today with Steve Forker, who is the Chief of Police in Michigan City.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever think you'd be sitting in that chair?
I honestly never thought I would be in this chair. I can honestly say that.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
You know, I question that myself sometimes. You know, when I would say I've had a diverse career.
Oh,
you know,
tell me about it.
I've had the opportunity, you know, obviously to come in as a young rookie and work midnight shift for several years, I would say.
To earn your stripes.
Yes, at that time I definitely did. So I think I was on midnights for 8 years. And then I got the opportunity to go into our detective bureau. So I worked as a detective for 3 years.
Were you looking for that?
I was, at that 8-year mark, I was kind of like, it's time for something different.
Change it up?
Right, the hours of midnights always are, I think a struggle.
I know a little about midnights because I used to work the homeless shelter from 11 to 3.
Right, right. So it's after that 3 a.m. where it gets very difficult, right?
Right.
So for me and my family, it was time for a change. And Chief Swistek at the time awarded me the opportunity, appointed me to the Detective Bureau for a couple of years, where you get to see the behind the scenes, right? We're not out there every day, working the streets. We're working the cases, right? So it's more targeted. We're learning getting search warrants, arrest warrants, and building cases.
Right, strategy.
Exactly, right. So using just learning that other side of police work, which was eye-opening, right? Because you think, you're just investigating a couple things. Well, it's not, and not only was it, the other side of police work, but a lot of just time management.
Right.
Because, at the time, we had, I want to say 15 detectives in the bureau. And we were investigating everything from, misdemeanor offenses to high-level felonies.
Right.
So, we had a great mix of everything, and once I kind of got my feet wet, I started getting some of the higher felony type stuff, so it was a great experience to learn that avenue. But again, then it was also time management because I had a caseload each case, deserves the appropriate time. So you want to make sure that you're giving each essentially victim, right, the time and that they deserve. Right. We want to see these things through fruition, to get them the justice that ultimately they deserve. So that was a great, experience for me. After that 3 years, we hit some manpower issues, and myself, Assistant Chief Cooney at the time, we were both detectives. But again, for our police department, that's an appointed position.
Okay.
So since we didn't hold any rank, it was time to go back to the shift because that's where the manpower was needed at the time. So then I got to come back, and when I came back, I went to day shift. So it was a little bit different policing.
Right. Very different.
Very different from midnights.
Right.
So really got into more of the community policing aspect of it, which I enjoy. Just getting out, getting in the neighborhoods, used to stop it, and play basketball with some of the kids, whether it was down at our park or on the street, wherever we used to see them. I'm a sports guy. I've been a coach for 20 plus years now. I've coached high school football. So I always enjoyed kind of doing some of those things. We're fortunate enough to have a good partnership with JDAI, which is our Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative. They provide us with sports balls every year. We got football, basketball, soccer balls, you name it, we got it. And I would always keep some of those in my trunk. Brand new ball. All right, these kids are out here playing. They're out of trouble. They're just like me as a kid. That's what I did. I played, basketball, wherever I could find a hoop. And so, just to take the time, play a little ball and give them a new one.
And then somebody decided you should be sitting in this chair.
Well, so I would say my next best thing was then I got to be SRO.
What's SRO?
School Resource Officer.
Oh, that's a good
So that was, I really kind of found my niche, I think, in that. Having, like I said, I've coached high school football for 20 plus years, and having to be in the high school and to build those relationships every day.
Right.
That to me is just one of the most important parts of policing. It's not even about being out there. It's just creating those relationships. And when we get to see the kids every day, we can break down some of those barriers.
Even, I ran a mentoring program for over 17 years for Rotary.
Right.
And even having just one meeting a month
Oh yeah.
for dinner, for pizza and cake,
Mm-hmm.
and a program that the Rotarians liked and the students liked, and it really bonded
Right.
them. It's just, it doesn't take
Absolutely.
much.
It takes
it's just a caring adult.
just a great opportunity
Yeah.
to just build relationships.
Right.
To me, that's what the SRO is all about. It's just going out there and building relationships with the kids, and then
And that can't hurt you now.
absolutely, right? So then I got the opportunity when Chief Dion Campbell was in place. He put me in the Division of Professional Standards, which is public relations, public information, releasing, press releasing.
Mm-hmm.
I was in charge of our records division, and so some more behind the scenes type of stuff that,
And being the face.
right, kind of, I would say more administrative type work.
Right.
So then, obviously, then the opportunity arose here. I didn't apply for this position.
I know. Yeah. But you got asked.
I did.
Somebody saw you.
Exactly. So that makes me, feel like I have an obligation, right? I have an obligation to the people of this department that entrusted me or believed in me to, I don't know who it was or how many or whoever it was, say,
That's your guy.
That's your guy.
That's
know,
great.
so it makes me feel like I have, the trust and understanding and the approachability of every officer that works here.
So when you were a kid,
Yeah.
what did you think you'd be doing?
Well, I think I kind of always envisioned myself in law enforcement.
Really?
Yeah.
What took you that way?
My dad, so he worked for the Department of Corrections for over 36 years. Yeah, so he did 36
He did
years
his
in
time.
yeah, he definitely did his time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I always kind of was always around, I would say, law enforcement. I did start at the prison. I worked there for a few years before I started here in 2005.
That's probably good.
Yeah, so it was a good experience for me. It was I was there for almost 3 years, and it was long enough for me to know that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life.
Right.
So just being out,
That's
involved in getting out into the community and where, ultimately we can make a bigger difference, I think.
That's great. That's great.
so, yeah.
What are the biggest challenges at the moment?
Right now, manpower is a big challenge for
Is
us.
that-
Yeah. So we're allotted for 84 officers. We haven't been there in several years. I would have to say almost back to 2018.
Where are you?
We are
What's the
currently
number?
at 69 officers.
Ooh. Yeah, so
So,
you're down
yeah.
about 15.
We're
or
looking for
something like that.
15.
So-
And it's a process. So we've seen. I would say that some of the younger officers or applicants. Things have shifted. I would say the younger generation. Where I would say, like my father, right, he spent 36 years with the Department of Corrections. We don't. I would say maybe some of this younger generation, some of the loyalty. I think to the brand is changed, right?
Right.
They're obviously always looking for opportunities to better themselves, and better, the betterment of their families, which I'm never going to shy anyone away for that.
Right.
If it's going to do better for yourself and do better for your family, congratulations.
And also, in the sense of doing better for yourself, do something that you like getting
Absolutely.
up every day.
Right. Exactly. Something that you enjoy doing. So it's been difficult because I think all the local agencies, we're all picking from the same small pool of applicants.
Right.
Right. We've seen, I would say, the trends for the last probably 3 or 4 years. There's been some ups and downs in our roller coaster ride in law enforcement. And unfortunately, right. And unfortunately, there's been some bad people in law enforcement. That maybe have snuck through the cracks.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's made a bad name, for law enforcement. But there's so many more good people,
Right.
that want to do this for the right reasons. and want to have a positive impact.
How do you find that out?
Yeah, so that's the difficult process. So, we're trying to expedite that process because
Right.
we are short,
But not too fast.
but
if
we
you
can't.
Don't know.
Right. So we still got to make sure we're getting quality candidates,
Right.
right? Quality human beings.
Right.
Because
People with an ethic.
right, you got to have ethics in this job because it's, you have to toe that line between right and wrong.
And we have to be
And-
accountable.
Right, and you have to be accountable not only to yourself but to your community.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard. We have to go through some of these packets and these applicants and go. It's not quite there, man. You're not making the cut. Which is difficult because we are
You
short.
need somebody.
Because we need people.
Right.
Right. We hope we just get the next perfect 15 people, but
Wouldn't that be fun?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, well, let's change
we're
that
trying.
attitude.
We're trying. Yeah, but there's so much to applying to be a police officer, right? You have to come in. You got to do a written exam. You have to do a physical agility exam. You have to go through a background, whether it's a lie detector, voice stress analysis. And then after all of that, and then we can give you a conditional offer. Well, then once we offer you, then we got to send you to our
School.
Well, not only that, but the physical and psychological exams.
Ooh.
So then, then we have to get that, those recommendations as well. So, there's a lot to it. And then again, then we're going to the police academy and all the other training that we have to do.
How long does it take from the day you say, okay, this is somebody I really want, to when you know whether they're going to be on board or not?
So I can say we've done two applicant testings this year. We did one in January, we just did one in March. The ones from January are just now finishing that physical and psychological examination. So they've received conditional offers. We are just now getting back those results.
And they have to wait.
Yeah,
too?
so that's January now. We did a testing. I think it was January 20th, the third week in January, third Saturday in January. So now we're here probably the third week in April, say, so we're 4 months out.
So they have to wait.
They've been waiting.
And they want, probably they applied because they want a job.
Correct. Yeah. So, and I would say that's fast tracking it. That's us making our best effort to
push along.
Right, to push along the process. Like we've trimmed down, like we used to just do the written test and then a physical agility test in one day. Well, I've been working with our police commission, so now one day we'll do written test. You pass that, you move on to the physical agility, and then we'll start doing oral interviews. The commission will do oral interviews as well, and then we'll also meet with a background investigator that day. So we will spend 8-10 hours here. We have those couple days that we've done so far this year, just fast tracking that. So that way when we leave at the end of the day, we have a candidate pool, and we've already assigned a background investigator who has already had a preliminary interview. So now they're ready to go out and do the rest of that background, finish that up, so then we can get it back to our police commission for conditional offers, really.
Yeah.
So we've kind of expedited that process. So last year we only did one testing process in March.
And this year you've already done
two. We have our third schedule for May 20th. It's a lot, but I've got our commission on board. Like we're short. We have
Do you get people from out of town?
So, we do, and some of them turn out great, and they grow to love Michigan City and want to raise their families in the community, and we get some that come here and have left already. That's some of that loyalty that
right.
That I go back to, where it's not necessarily. They're good people. I wish them well, but they came here and they go, I want to go back home.
Right.
So that's why we're always trying to look for good candidates that are born and raised here, that have vested interests here. That's going to help raise somebody on the applicant.
And they know
pool.
about
Right.
the city.
Right. So that those are people, but on the same note, we're not always getting those applicants.
Right.
We get some of them, but unfortunately they can't get through the process. But it's important that we have that process in place.
Oh, Yeah, I would say so.
You know, so
I would say so.
right. So
So what's on your wish list besides more applicants?
well, you know, obviously the applicants. You know, we're the county passed the public safety lit tax last year. So my wish
I don't
list.
know what that is.
So
What is that?
so a public safety local income tax.
Okay.
So that's a county-wide tax that just goes towards public safety.
Awesome.
So then, yeah, it's awesome. It's great. So then each entity gets their little portion of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so for Michigan City, that for us, that falls to police and fire. Right? Those are the public safety entities within the city here. So we're hoping to see some of, well, I would like to see a large portion of that used towards salaries.
Nice.
We need our
You need to be.
we need to be competitive and or above everyone else around us. You know,
Yep.
and you know, not only are we behind the game, I think, on hiring, but we're already, you know, we've seen some of the surrounding agencies already
Snapping up people.
well, no, they've already enacted these raises, right? They've got raises January 1st. You know, and here this is something we've been pushing for since I got into office in last October, that, you know, we're still waiting on. You know,
So what's holding it back? Politics?
I would say, unfortunately, yeah, there's some politics. You know, I mean, it's you know, it's negotiations, right? We had to, I would say, reopen negotiations. So the FOP and the city council wage negotiation teams, you know, they meet, and we had signed a 3-year contract last year. Well, then it was prior to this tax.
So
Right.
now you've got this
So
tax.
now we have this
could we have
tax.
a little of it, right?
So now we have to reopen the negotiations, and you know, some of that stuff I think has been dragged along a little bit too long, and I'm hoping that we can get something soon. You know,
Good.
because that it just helps build morale, and then it just makes us more attractive.
Attractive and a better community all
Correct.
around.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, then we have, you know, competitive paying jobs that, you know, that people want.
That people want, right?
We have a great pension plan, right? Come here, spend 20 years, and you can move on to another career, right? And then collect a pension from, you know, from the police department. So, you know, it's long-term stuff, you know, that people, you know,
They
some
don't
people
think
don't
about
think
it.
about that until you're vested a little bit. You know, I
That's
know when
right.
I came in at 25 years old, the last thing I was thinking about was
The
my
future.
pension, right? You know, but you know, it's something, you know, that we need to educate our young officers on. And
We do.
You know,
How about just young people?
yeah, young people in general, just, you know, setting themselves up properly for retirement, right? You know, so
Or for the future, just
right.
call it the future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even better.
Because we all retire several
Yeah.
times in our
Right?
lives.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I'm hoping for once.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Thank you so much.
yeah, no, I
It's
appreciate
been
it.
a pleasure.
Absolutely. This is great. You know,
Good.
anytime I would love to, you know, sit down and have a good chat.
That's good. I love it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Forker and Suzy Vance from Creating from the Heart, the Artistry of Living. We'll see you next time.